Hey everyone! I am so excited to jump on here for my ink and my story. And I have my beautiful special guest right here. Go ahead and share who you are and where you're from, a little something about yourself.
I am Shonna Dalusong, and I am from Cleveland, Tennessee. And I am probably most proud at the moment of being a gam
Oh,
to three precious littles and one on the way coming late April, early May.
that's so
And
exciting.
uh, if it is so fun, I man, I wish somebody could bottle up and put into words. Grandmas are always annoying about bragging about babies, right? And no, it's kind of like before you're a mom trying to explain what mom is like.
Mhm.
Grandma is so exponential. I have tried for so long to find words for it, but it's the love for my child, the reliving, watching, like it's true. But now I'm also watching my child be a mom,
Mm.
and it's the complete lack of mental labor. And so it's this just trifecta of joy that is just, you can't put into words. So, yes, I'm very proud to be Gam Gam and was, well, annoyingly share as many pictures as people ever want to look at.
How did you come up with Gam Gam?
Actually, Jalik's son, my first grandbaby, dubbed me Gam Gam, and so it stuck. And what's really fun about that is my parents are still alive, and so my parents are actually grandpa and grandma,
Okay.
and my the other sides of the family, the grandmas chose different names without even knowing what I had been dubbed by Franklin. So it just Franklin chose it and it stuck. So we love it.
The best when they get to pick it, you know? Mm.
I love that. But I mean, outside of the role I play in other people's lives, if I were to distill who I am,
Mm.
not just, in the roles I play, probably the thing I have been called since I was a teenager is mama.
Mama, yep.
And most of the girls, the young ladies in my life call me Coach Mama or Coach Mama Shauna. My own daughter even will say, "Can you put your Coach Mama hat on?" Like, so that's really. And if I were to describe kind of the characteristics of who I am, just in the narrowest terms, I am an encourager
Mm.
to the core of my being. I am incredibly good at holding space
Mm.
non-judgmentally, and I have been called wise since I was an elementary school child. So that's kind of who I am.
I love that. So yes, I remember the mama part. I remember when we were at an SOK thing, people coming up to you and feeling that mom um off of you and just your heart. She absolutely encourages big time. And one thing too that she has always been to me and that father highlighted was she is a huge connector. And like she just does it so beautifully. And yeah, I, this lady right here, she is just so precious to me. We get to connect every now and then, but I remember some of the conversations that we have had and the deep dialogue and allowing just Holy Spirit to be present, be in the moment, and just to be able to be and just talk with you. And like we were saying before we got started, it's nice to be able to just do that with nothing else and just to kind of fill your cup. So I miss those times. So
Yeah, same.
we'll have to have more. I know we're all busy in life and all the things and whatnot, but and when you were talking and you said uh your little name for that he calls you, I saw a little bottle and you taking that and putting it into a little bottle. You're like, I don't know how to explain it, which you explained it really well, but almost taking your grandma fragrance, that's not what it's called, but with your name on it of what he calls you and creating this little bottle that so people could have an understanding or a glimpse of what grandmahood would be like. And so I just thought I'd share that. It was like in your hand and it had your name on it, and you created it for other people to be able to experience it. So
I love it.
we'll have to see what that is. Perfect. Well, let's go ahead and let's jump right into your story behind your tattoo. It could be one, it could be all. And I know that you are also talking about kind of getting some more. So whatever you want to share.
Well, I have one and only one so far. And it's I did almost a henna color here on my forearm, and it's my life verse. So just the reference. And then underneath it, I have summarized that with 2 words. So um, to put in a little context, when I was in college, the very first time I read this verse, it completely just like jumped off the page, right? And I hadn't even heard the concept of a life verse before. And I read that and went, it is my verse. Like to this, I mean, to the core of my being, I can't even explain it. Like that was my verse. And so I've taken a multitude of versions and put them all together with all of the words and kind of written it the way I like to say it. But it's Isaiah 32:17, and it says, and the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness, quietness, and confident assurance forever. And I sat around with some of the girls around a table one night before I got the tattoo, and we dissected every word in that verse and decided to summarize it as bold trust. So it's not super bold. It's just almost like henna on my arm. It's written to where I'm reading it. And context wise, I have grandparents, and my parents are headed the same direction, who have had like 70th wedding anniversaries.
Mm.
And I wanted to be like that. But my life, it kind of fell apart midstream. So at 46, I found myself separated, and I was living by accident kind of near where my daughter had chosen to go. We all grew up in California, and she was in Tennessee at college. And one of my best friends that I knew in California was out here. And when I had helped her through a divorce years earlier, and we had also built something together years earlier. And so when my marriage started going the same way hers had, I happened to, God reconnected us. And she and her husband offered me, if I could get across the country, I could start over in a spare room at their house. So I took my daughter's college packing list and used it to pack bare essentials and drove over to a guest room and started over in a suitcase. And I went through this dramatic season from 2012 cleared through this last year of just coming out of a cult, mind-based religion, jumping over more into the Pentecostal world. Then I got, shortly after moving out here, a spiritual cleansing certification and a coaching certification. And then I jumped into kind of Hebraic roots, mainly because I got a job and I was assigned to edit and create content to go with videos about all of that. So I kind of jumped into that, which completely prepared me for School of Kingdom. But if you can even fathom how many rounds of unlearning and relearning that was in the decade of my life, unlearn how to be married, right? And relearn being single, and unlearn being a mom and learn empty nest, right? And unlearn the cult like religion and learn Pentecostal and all of that history. And then unlearn,
Yeah.
um, you know, learn how to be a coach, right? Learn, and I had studied chaplaincy before that. So there was a lot of unlearning, relearning there, right? And unlearn Pentecostal, learn Hebraic roots. I learned Hebraic roots to learn School of Kingdom. Like little aspects went with me every time, but I was reeling. And in the middle of all that unlearning and relearning, my daughter was getting a lot of tattoos. And we decided I would get one, and it was honestly mainly to connect with my daughter. I just happened to choose my life verse because it was a marker for me, that bold trust marker in the middle of all that chaos and unlearning and relearning. I had just that to hold on to. I can't even tell you how many times the Holy Spirit tapped my shoulder and said, "Hey, reach your arm," when I would get shaky. So that's kind of, I did it to connect with my daughter, but I also did it to steady my feet in that crazy season. And I think the really fun part of this story that I didn't expect, I was like, why would Angel want to interview me? I have one tiny little tattoo on my arm.
I love you. Yeah.
But I've always, in the back of my head, kind of wanted to finish just the inside of my forearm with some flowers or butterflies or something. And I pondered it, but I had such a bad reaction to the ink when I got the first one. I didn't even have it touched up. And I was like, I don't even know if I could tell. I have a, don't have a high pain threshold for tattoos. My daughter had hold my hand the whole time. And I just can't fathom how I could sit to get it done. But the very process of having this conversation with Angel made me start thinking, if I finished it, what would I do? So I was telling her over the weekend that I am just fascinated that the whole picture came together. I started playing around with symbols. I went into Grok and I just started throwing ideas in there, and Grok created a picture, and then the picture hit my spirit. And I threw it into Chat GPT today and was like, what are the spiritual meanings of all of this? And you could knock me over with a feather, because what I chose and where I want it, even what Chat GPT said about where I want it placed, tell my story. It just blows my mind. So I will probably finish it someday. And maybe when Angel's done training, she might be the one that does it. But yeah, I know now what I want to do when I'm ready, even if I do it a little bit at a time.
As you finished that, and when you said that, it was like I had like this fire chill come all over me. And I was like, just of this true excitement. And I'm like, okay. It's just Father's way of reminding me, hey, this is your heart. Keep pushing on it, keep going. Because there's a lot of different people that are like, okay, if you will do it, then we might, it was just this. So when you said that, I was like, okay. And oh man, you have been through such a crazy journey, but a beautiful journey now where you are and the process of that. And I know that about you. So when it comes to a tattoo, the tattoo is just the door opener.
Yeah.
And I love how God's like, hey, you're going to ask people about their tattoos and see where the rest takes it. And I will tell you the conversation of how much just every conversation that I've had with everybody this far, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. I'm just like, just because of that tattoo and the inspiration that it does for people. And so I just want to thank you so much for trusting the process. And even though you're like, I've just got one, but your one has such a packed punch meaning to it. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And, it was interesting as you were talking too about it. You kept saying marker, like a marker. But I saw literal marker, and I saw you like marking stuff out and marking really hard, and it was like it wasn't disappearing. And then I saw you reverse it and actually completely removed it. And there was a time that you and me had a conversation, and I won't go into detail about it, but we had talked about the clock, about going right and then reversing. And so that's being highlighted right now. So I just wanted to mention that to you. So let's see all the goodness of that. Yeah. And then I would love to ask you if somebody knew that they needed to share their story, what is something that you could say to encourage them?
Trust the process, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I doubted. I was like, but I know Angel and I love her. So I'm like, yeah, I've got one. I'll answer her question, right? I really didn't think much would come of it. It didn't really feel like, I didn't have a lot of tattoos to talk about, but I'm so grateful I said yes
Mm.
because of the fruit of it in our private conversation preparing, and me figuring out what I want. I'm super excited about what I want to finish on my arm. And this process helped finish that. And so if somebody else is thinking, I don't know, or I'm a little scared too, first of all, Angel takes the fear out anyways. But
Try.
it feels like a conversation, over a cup of coffee or on a couch with a friend. Um, but you never know who might find just the tiniest little nugget in your story. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, that little clue about maybe I do want to be a grandma, or maybe it's the little like, oh, I don't have to have a big fancy tattoo. Maybe I just want one little thing that's a marker, a reminder, or touchstone for me. So be brave enough to share because you never know who might need that one little nugget.
Perfectly said. That one little nugget. And it's true, guys. There, you know, all the words that we've given prophetically and the different things to encourage people. And you're like, I got one word that I keep hearing, just one. And then you go say that one word to that person, they're like, blah, bawling their eyes out because you said one word. You're like, I said peanuts. Like, but what? And you have no idea. I was just having a conversation with father, and I was like, oh, okay. So trust the one word, guys. It makes a huge difference. And I would love to ask too, before I say this, everybody if you have been part of this journey of sharing your ink with the world by sharing your story, there is an email that you got that has a beautiful journaling questions for you. And this beautiful lady right here, she not only dug in, she went deep and she's like, I'm ready to go. I've got them answered. But I love that you took the time to do it. And it's not something that has to be done beforehand or afterhand or whatnot, but the whole purpose of it is for you, like you said, to go, there's actually more to this. And now you're excited about the future. So I love that you took the time to do that. And I love your brain because you do that. I'm like,
You took the time to put it together for us. Like it was super, yeah, it was just sitting there in the quiet, reflecting on those questions for a few moments that broke open, like really, I want to just say the Father's heart and my heart, creating together.
I love that. I really love that. That's really cool you said it like that because that's cool because that was part of my process as I was creating it. I was like, Father, I just want you to connect with their heart. So you just called it out right there. That's pretty cool. So I would love to ask too, as we wrap this up, as a community, how can we come alongside you and support you in what you're doing?
Well, I, as I came out of that hard season, released a course into the world that I thought was going to be something I did for a lot in the future. It was called Change Your Relationship Story. And it ended up being kind of a culmination of what I had learned up in the first, 56 years of my life, 57. And then that was kind of the end of it. And so I was telling Angel over the weekend, I kind of went through a little crisis season as my divorce took 12 years. It was ridiculous. So as I came out of that, the end of all that unlearning, relearning, finishing all that process, I kind of had this almost, it felt like a crisis. It didn't end up being, but it's like, I don't know who I am, what I'm doing. what I thought I was going to do isn't going forward. I'm actually working for some friends, helping them build something beautiful right now. And so I just was like, had a lot of questions. What I've realized is I've gone back into a learning season, and I've just recently gotten a lot of clarity over what that needs to be. So I have this huge dream. It's not a huge dream. There's something a tool I need to invest in for the next phase, and it's some quartz crystal singing bowls.
That's right.
Yeah, and so I think where I'm going is I'm I have a finding love again dating coach. I'm going to get into dating, and I'm really working a lot on loving me and letting myself be loved by somebody else, and really savoring helping raise the grandbabies in this first 5 years of their life. And so I think I'm in one of those learning quieter seasons again. But my big dream would be to have those, if anybody wanted to help invest in some singing bowls, would be to get those and start learning to use them, because I think where I'm going is taking everything I've already released and then this learning season. And a friend and I are wanting to eventually put some retreats on. So I know this tool is going to be a part of what we're going to finish building. And it's the same friend who invited me to live in her home when my life started over. And we laughed when we started thinking about retreats just a few weeks ago, because we're like, you know what? That's where it started. And who knew that all these years later, it might be something we'd circle back to. So, yeah, I'm just kind of in a building season, but I will happily share my Venmo. And if anybody feels inclined to sew into my next learning season, I'd be so grateful.
I love that. So, guys, you are going to find it. When I post this out there, you'll have all of her information on the top of how to do that. Also, give her encouragement in the chat and just let her know how much you just absolutely loved this and the pieces that you took away. But yes, support her in her new beginning of her journey of where she's going. I did want to say to you, too, you know what 12 means, right? Completeness. It's another
Yeah.
completion.
Yes.
So, and it was interesting because I heard 6 and 6, that's divine for man. And it's interesting that you said that it was a completion, but then I saw how it was telling you the clock this way and then the reverse this way, and it was complete. And now you're starting to go into the journey of a new man. So, yeah. Anyways, I was like, oh, that's exciting. So, it wasn't exciting through the 12 years, though. No.
I had plenty of distraction in all those learning curves. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Clifton's strengths, but one of my top 5 strengths is learner. So shouldn't be surprising that God throws me through quite a few curves.
She is a beautiful teacher. She just absolutely, not only for herself, but you have the best way of being able to explain things too. So
thank you, Angel.
Is there anything else that you would like to share, or do you want to wrap it up?
I think we're done.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And once again, thank you for being part of this. And we will see you again, guys. All right. Bye.